Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we of course have to play out the Congress. This ship you can get completely for free just by playing the game at this update. Very awesome. We have a premium tier 8, essentially Alaska at a lower tier. You're missing out on a little bit of firepower and a little bit of survivability. Otherwise, this is essentially a down-tiered Alaska. This is available through the Dawn of a Nation campaign, and from what it looks like to me, the grind doesn't look too bad. Every 500 base XP you get in a single random battle, there's other modes included here too, but I'm going to use randoms just to keep things nice and easy. You're getting 10 progress points, and there's 4 weeks of this. The first week requires 120 points, so that's 12 random battle games in an entire week. That doesn't sound too bad. Next week is 150, so that's 15 games the second week. 170 week 3, 17 games week 3, and the last week, maybe they made it worse, right? It's 200 points. So that's another 20 games in a week for week 4, or 640 total points, 64 games required over the next month. That doesn't sound too bad to me. Is this wargaming we're talking about here? This is awesome. Congress may not be my favorite ship, okay, let me put that out there, but for this event, I think this is so cool. This is a unique premium. This does not play like very many ships in the game, especially at this tier. We retain full Alaska guns here, 20-second reload, full AP, pen angles, everything like that. We just have 7 guns instead of the 9 guns we get on Alaska. Lower HP here as well. We're nearly 10k down HP wise compared to Alaska, and crucially, we only get 2 heals base, where Alaska gets 3 base heals. So 3 total here with Congress. When we take Superintendent, Alaska would get up to 4. So you're missing out on survivability a little bit. These guns still hit quite hard when they connect. It's still battlecruiser dispersion, and now we have fewer guns to saturate that area. And of course, we actually do have a very useful radar. 10-kilometer radar here lasts an incredibly long time for this tier. 35-second duration on 10-kilometer radar is very rare at tier 8, so extremely powerful. Same 5-kilometer hydro here, which is really, really useful too. Of course, we are not swapping over to things like spotter plane or defensive AA. Those things are not nearly as useful as hydro and radar are for a ship like this one that wants to push up, that wants to play around islands, that wants to play cap contest. This by far was my best game with Congress. We'll see what I get up to later with some live recordings after this, but it took me a while to get this battle, let's just say. This is not the best ship, I don't think, consistency-wise. It requires a lot of good RNG to get 7 battlecruiser dispersion guns working well at this tier. Remember, we can face tier 6s, so it's important that this ship does have some RNG reliance on it. Otherwise, if it was a laser beam, I mean, it would just be flat out overpowered, of course. Though comparing it to Alaska, there's one thing it favorably gets is actually the rear firing angles. When we're looking forwards, we actually get 30-degree firing angles to shoot all of our main guns here on Congress. The kited angles are 37, and that is the same with Alaska or with Congress. But 30-degree forward is pretty nice when Alaska has 33-degree. It's a small difference, but it does matter for a ship like this one that has a below-water citadel. Both Alaska and Congress have that, by the way. And it allows us to slightly over-angle and not eat citadel damage. We're trying to bait enemies into hitting our belt armor here, because the bow, the stern are 27 millimeters, so against a Massachusetts, as we are penned in by our Amagi here, I would have preferred to reverse around this island. That's okay, we'll get there eventually. We do want to bait them into hitting our belt armor. Not the Richelieu. Richelieu has 380s, so he would auto bounce off of our 27 mil bow, but Massachusetts, a lot of high tier battleships, want to bait them into hitting that belt armor and then angle it enough that it mostly bounces. If we do a poor job of it, we still won't be taking citadels, which is very nice. And at range is a big deal for a ship like this one, as we've seen with the introduction of Fort Worth. It's very nice to have deck armor that can auto bounce battleship shells. If you're trying to push up towards caps, get your radar online, use your hydro, all of that, the ship wants to play a little bit closer. We need to have deck armor that can bounce those arcing long-range battleships that are playing the back of the map and often will just overmatch through cruisers. It's very challenging to play a cruiser aggressively. We do have that here still. The 36mm deck armor that we find on Alaska is here on Congress. So even though we are missing out on a little bit of HP, We have the same number of heals, actually, as Fort... I should stop dunking on Fort Worth so much, but it feels tankier than Fort Worth, okay? Let me just say that. And the guns, well, when they hit, we're punching through battleships, okay? This ship has enough pen to actually get through that threshold to actually be a threat to battleships at closer ranges. Now, not at max range, of course, but I would say within 10 kilometers, battleships will have to worry. You get over 400 millimeters of pen, battleships have to worry about you going flat broadside on. And of course, at really closer ranges like that, the improved pen angles will help us to cheek the enemy battleships there with the Richelieu example. Yes, this is a Halsey Confed game, so we're seeing like a 13-second reload on Congress. That is not normal. Okay, that is definitely not the norm, and makes the ship feel a lot better. It does feel like a very sluggish reload, and that inconsistency with only having 7 guns, battlecruiser dispersion, often will hold it back, let's say, on consistent battle impact. But that's where the extra HP compared to a regular tier 8 cruiser comes in, the extra armor, the extra utility. The ship has a lot going for it. So again, it needs the RNG. So just be prepared when you get this ship for free. There is some RNG involved with it. Unfortunately, it did a poor job of angling there. I think maybe Key actually hit our upper belt, which is overmatchable. And then Talon will finish us off. So unfortunately, not able to quite clutch that one out. Lacking a little bit on the HP, or perhaps just got over-aggressive in the late game. This last example game I want to show you before I go into some live matches is maybe a match where things didn't go quite our way every time. That was an outlier, previous match. That was definitely an outlier where Congress seemed to perform very consistently all the way through. At range, big threat, of course, crossfires with cruisers, enemy battleships who want to push up close to us within 10... I mean, we should be able to get through a renowned citadel at this range, and we just don't hit it. We just don't hit it. Hipper, the German cruisers do have some turtleback, which can work, but improved pen angles generally deal with the cruiser turtleback very, very well. The American 203s get through very easily, and we would too if we could hit the right spot. Oh no. What about a broadside NC at 4.5 kilometers? We have like double his citadel in terms of pen. Oh no. Yeah, it's RNG, guys. It is RNG. We're still gonna have some good battle impact here. We're gonna hydro out the destroyer. We're gonna survive for a reasonably long period of time here, certainly for a cruiser. This is not battleship survivability by no means, but for a cruiser at this tier, this is very, very solid survivability, allowing us to apply a lot of pressure in the late game in particular, where we can take a few hits, get really close, get our utility going to deal with the enemy destroyers at the end of the game. It is nice to have that as an option. This ship will be very good in things like ranked as well. The fewer ships alive, the easier it is for cruisers to push up and get their utility going. The ship, of course, does have long duration fires, so be aware of that if you are trying to push up into some HE spam. 60-second fires, no access to fire prevention, definitely hurts. That is something maybe Wargaming we could look at for a cruiser buff, perhaps a battle cruiser focused one, where just give fire prevention back to cruisers. It would be so nice to have that, I gotta say. Otherwise, these battle cruisers tend to burn down extremely quickly. There we go! Finally! Finally, we got the citadels. I was trying to talk about something else before I go insane over saying, oh no, too many times to a broadside NC not taking damage. We will be going down here. Benson knows it's the end. I do kind of whiff that last salvo. Fortunately, some secondaries will help clean us up. We've already done enough to impact this battle, though. I'm not sure if I'm going to show you a ton of full battles or not. We'll see what I get up to with the live section here, but this is the end of our ship in this one. It's a very powerful tier 8 cruiser, battle cruiser, solid armor. You're not full battleship for survivability, but that's okay. The ship has an insane amount of utility and survivability for a cruiser at its tier, and it makes it a very nice reward for this Dawn of a Nation collection. Extremely well done on this part of the update, Wargaming. Of course, we got to start with a bit of a weird small game here, but we're going to play very aggressive. This is a very, very, very good event. I really, really dislike how they're handling the return of old dockyards, I gotta say. Okay, we haven't seen a DD yet, so that's fine. But this is a Grizia. And, well, this is... Well, let's see. Let's see what we get to start with. That is some okay dispersion. Certainly Bactar looks pretty good. Oh, yes. When it hits, guys. When it hits. A little Hydro, of course, to beware of some potential torpedoes. Garitzia Sap. Painful. Certainly painful. He's going to turn in. We'll aim low. Bit of a longer reload, but considering the damage we are getting, very, very good. Unfortunately, our battleship actually went like this, our NC, which is too bad. So kind of leaves us hanging out here alone. There is an Akizuki here as well. It's a little scary. Garcia's smart to use the island there, so we will go after the destroyer here. Perhaps a good idea to... Oh, I was going to actually try to get behind this island. That's okay. Let's keep reversing. Perhaps we can make that work. Garcia looking like he might try to push out here. So we're kind of tanking like their middle guys all went here. We're tanking most of the enemy. Look at how long this radar lasts. It's absurd. It's absurd for, look at it. He thought the radar would be out. He was like, surely the radar's out already, right? I don't blame him for thinking that. Although we get no damage. That's too bad. That's too bad. I will need to get behind this island though from the enemy force. He shot, so that's how we are getting spots here, even though the radar is down. There we go. We got him. We got him. We got him. So, pretty clearly not as tanky as an Alaska, right? Pretty clearly lower HP hurts, less heals obviously hurts too. But we're at tier 8. We are simply a tier 8, and this is crazy power for a tier 8 to have. He's just going to reverse in front of us. I was expecting him to stop and then go forward. Hopefully we don't get burnt down by this guy. That would be really, really, really sad. I would be quite disappointed by that. Akizuki back in the cap. Okay, that's got to be good, right? No! No! The RNG! The RNG. That's too bad. Oh, and he's just so broadside, too. This hurts my soul. This hurts my soul. It's such an obvious misplay, and it doesn't matter. Trying to use prop mod, by the way, to go speed juke this guy. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay. RNG. We've rolled our dice well this time. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's fine. It's fine. If you can handle that sort of massive difference in outcome, this ship can be very fun. Okay. If you can handle that. I, for one, struggle to be okay with that sort of thing, even though I know it's required. I know it's necessary for game balance, but oh man, hurts the soul to see the broadsides not take damage. Anyways, still have a Mayhem here, which is really, really nice. I mean, our ship is handling the pressure quite well. I only want to shoot my back gun here, so I'm going to turn my front guns like this, and then we're going to go up and shoot only our back gun. Look at that. Hey, cool little trick. Is it useful? I'm not so sure. Hey, we got some okay damage there, I guess. I am waiting to get my last heal. Oh, my last heal. Yeah, we are very low on HP, so we need to play patient. We need to play patient. We're not able to really push out here too easily, I don't think. I want to help make sure my Mayhem stays alive. He's helped me a lot this game. He's definitely big MVP helping us with spotting. Unfortunately, he got lit by the looks of things. I'm going to reverse out here because I think I can fire on this Colorado without being detected. Or it's plane spotting. Well, it's plane spotting. Let's make sure we don't need torps coming through here potentially from the destroyer. Please take the plane down. We'll go here. If Yumahari makes this push, I will turn and go after him, of course. But I don't want to like force it, because if I push out here, then we get caught by a crossfire. So we kind of want to force him into the crossfire rather than ourselves. This is the patience that you need with playing these battle cruisers that I sometimes just don't have. They are very good ships. I simply just lack the patience. The Yumahari reversing is kind of interesting, actually. We're spotted. I believe it's from the destroyer. So let's swap over to the HE, maybe? to get ready for it. Undetected again. What does that mean? Perhaps he went through here. HE landing a fire. That's pretty good. It's not always going to be the case. Pretty good hold here, I gotta say, from Congress. Pretty good hold. We're getting very fortunate that Colorado is using the HE, by the way. All right, Umahari has pushed that way. That's fine. This is the patience that I don't have pushing out like this, by the way. Wait for the rears to come through, although I think I get them there. Yeah, nice. Nice. Once it's late game, a little later game, then you can afford to play very, very aggressive, which is really fun. But you just got to wait for the right opportunity. Oh, look at that front. There you go. Front turret versus second turret. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference. Very funny. We don't have a hydro for the destroyer right now, so let's be aware of that. Once we get around the corner, we will want to go HE, and I think we go now for the HE. Let's see. He just turned his torps. He probably launched right now, so let's slow down. Nice, we get him, and the torps. We could visually see he turned the torps for us. Maybe he didn't have them up. Maybe he's just checking my positioning, perhaps. Okay, bit of a strange one. Short games I'm not always the most fan of because they're not exactly representative of your random battles, because yours should be full. For some reason, I get a lot of these. Maybe you guys get a lot of them too, and they are representative. But it maybe shows you what this ship can do in the, if you are able to stay a little bit more patient. Very nice. That's actually really good start. Well done, Congress. I'm always looking for positions where I can push up using islands, of course. So we're going to play very aggressive. This is a pretty common one to go to. But for a Congress here, this allows us to, as the enemy team pushes this way, we catch their broadsides. It also lets us swap over to help on B if necessary. You know, we have a destroyer here pushing up. We want to help on those engagements. I never like playing these sorts of battle cruisers with the radar utility in that, the American ones, on pre-kited flanks, open water. It always feels so bad to me. The shell velocity feels a little poor at range too, so another reason that we want to get in a little bit closer. So trying our best to find map positions that allow us to do that. Not every map lets you, unfortunately, but most of them should have an option like this. We don't have an angle for the Buffalo. There's a Bayard. Hello, sir. That one did not get a heal. Perhaps because it's going for coal. Like, that has to be it, right? No, they wouldn't do that to poor Bayard, right? Oh, that's some good dispersion. He even turns a little more broadside. Okay, it's a little high. That's all right. Let's hydro to make sure we're not getting like YOLO'd by a DD or something. Hey, speaking of a DD, nice. Izumo gets a shot on us. That's totally fine. Maybe? Yeah, it would take 10k. 10k feels like a bigger hit in this ship relative to Alaska, that's for sure. Bayard's still behind the island, that's okay. Try to aim kind of in that bow corner section there for now. Our hydro still has the Shira spotted. Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully we don't eat like another 20k hit or something like that in here. Why do I even talk? I figured it was coming because we had such bad dispersion against him. I was like, oh man, we're rolling poor in this one. We're rolling poor, so surely it comes through. Yeah, and it does. So that feels really bad. That feels really bad. I shouldn't be poking my nose, I guess. Usually the ship is going to feel a little better than that, I think. Usually you're not eating that much from an Izumo. But you can. It's technically possible. So we've proven that. Surprised this Shira is still full health. Our team is seemingly doing pretty good in the middle. 4 shatters. We do have 51 mil pen on the HE. That's quite good. Allows us to full pen Izumo everywhere but his turrets. So that's apparently where I actually hit. Let's send these over. We're not getting the most crossfire right now. It's only really Jaeger torps. So that's why we're on the HE. Or am I just hitting only his turrets here? Or does Izumo have 57 DAC armor? Let's look and see where this goes. I have not been paying attention. I'm trying to, you know, have a little more map awareness. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nice. That's good. I see the Bayard, so we want to swap. This is where our gun feeder is really, really, really useful. Will he be forced to angle to my team? Not so sure. Looks like he knows about us. Perhaps he has incoming fire alerts. But this is where I really would have liked to have a little more pressure here from my battleships. Though he does go broadside. And I think I get that over, please. Oh, we do. Nice. Yeah, triple sit out of the front gun. See? You got to withstand a little bit of bad luck, and then you will succeed. There we go. Eventually. We'll go after Charles here. Maybe I should have tried to hold for Bayard, but he doesn't have a heal. And I'd rather try for the Charles Citadel there. Okay, we don't get it. Should be able to finish off the Bayard here. I don't want to push out and eat another 20k somehow from the Izumo, so we'll stay a little bit patient here. I am going to radar. I want to see what's around. I wanted to know if Shira was full sending to push me. That's kind of the reason for the radar. The other thing was maybe I catch a DD, but that's not to be. Our radar's about to run out. Our team has done some damage to the Shira, which is cool. So why don't we keep him lit with the Hydro? I mean, this is why this island position is just so crazy, right? We get so much pressure onto part of B and part of A. I've also reversed this way more so to try and cut the angle to Izumo while also leaving us open to maybe fight this Gustav. We'll see. There he is. Gustav will not be able to overmatch through us, which is very nice. Just want to avoid the Izumo ability to do that. And we Citadel a Gustav! That's crazy. That is good RNG. That is very, very, very good RNG, but I mean, that's the difference some pen makes. That's the difference a bit of pen makes. Very nice. Perhaps I should be trying to go for the Shira here a little bit more so. I think we're okay. Gustav knows about the armor on us. So we actually take some HE hits, which is kind of smart, I suppose. Can we get some upper belt pens? Yeah, 11k. There we go. Now we're coming alive. Oh, he's on the AP now. That's totally good. He's got 380s. So we're feeling okay. He also has very, very poor firing angles on his front guns when he's kited, so that's going to force him more broadside. Otherwise, you know, if he had really good firing angles, then it might be a good idea to swap over to the HE or something. But in this case, I think we're fine. AP... Perhaps I'm getting baited by the one Citadel, but I think it was worth doing that. Now, looks like Shira is going to try and rush us. This is what I was worried about a little earlier. So, Hydra runs out. Don't worry. We have a radar. Now we need to make sure we hit this before he gets his torps off. There we go. Very good. Jaeger pushing the flank here. Our team is coming through, so we're doing okay. Angled enough that we didn't. That was pretty fortunate. That definitely could have resulted in much, much more damage. Yeah, so Izumo is looking for us right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push up to this island here, angle, and then I'm going to reverse away from it. Kind of hoping my team also is able to deal with the broadside on Izumo here. Doesn't look like it, actually. I might need to sort of brawl this guy. I don't like that. He already showed he gets very good RNG against us. All right. He's going to push out. Jaeger, yeah. Okay. And we go through here. Jaeger got us. Too bad. All right, we got to try. Let's try a fun play, shall we? I don't know. No, we got good hits. Don't go for the ram, guys. It's so much cooler to go for the drive-by. Oh, the double fire from shard secondaries. Too bad. Got a couple sits there. Would hope for a couple more, but okay. Let me get this out here, okay? Obviously, if this was an important game to win, you go for the ram, okay? But it's random battles. We gotta have some fun, right? We gotta have some fun. This isn't COTS Finals. In COTS Finals, I would go for the ram. Yes, I definitely did that. But this isn't COTS Finals. We gotta have some fun instead. Rams are lame in random battles. I gotta spread that message more. Rams are lame. We gotta try for these fun brawls. There, they got it. I was never worried. It got close there. Perhaps we should have rammed for the team, but that's okay. Very fun, actually, set of games here in Congress. That is a rarity, so I'm not gonna push my luck. Not gonna push my luck, okay? That is good enough for me. This is not my favorite kind of ship, if you can't tell already. Dawn of a Nation, though, very cool. Awesome section here of this update. Love that there is a unique premium here as a reward for people. And if you already have it, of course, you get doubloons back. Very, very awesome part of this update by Wargaming. Going to be very specific here, as Wisconsin loot box gambling is the worst they could possibly do, and they keep doing it. Here is the build that I was running. Looked a little something like this. That radar action time goes crazy if you build for it. Rest looks here. You could buff the AP shells alpha damage here, certainly, but you know, you'd go here and then probably take Grease the Gear or something like that. But outnumbered, guys, the dispersion. You know me. I'm going to complain about dispersion no matter what. So I may as well take the upgrades that help it. And it does. Outnumbered is an excellent skill when we proc it. It's a hard one to activate. You got to play in a specific way sometimes. But this ship can. It can play a little bit more aggressive on flanks that your team's not as strong on. The extra armor here is quite nice, though. Yeah, you do get overmatched. You can get overmatched. I will put forward that I would not expect Izumo to consistently do that from 15 kilometers. My experience with Izumo dispersion is a little bit more random than that, shall we say. But it's a good ship for you, okay? I think it will be a one worth grinding out. And again, it should be pretty easy to grind this one out. These combat missions don't seem that bad to me. 500 base XP is almost guaranteed as long as you're not AFK. And so it means like there's like, what, 60 games? A little over 60 games over a 4-week period? That's awesome. That is really good. Well done, Wargaming, and enjoy grinding towards your Congress this update, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.